What's up, YouTube? Ram Thorburn here. I am back from vacation. I know I haven't put out a whole lot of these Ram Reacts videos over the past couple weeks. It started out, I was working on Revved Up. I just put out my, before I went on vacation, I put out my Revved Up episode, A Very Un-American Revolution. If you haven't seen that, I highly suggest you go check that out. It's all about cultural Marxism and the Marxist plot to basically overtake America and how that's been going on for decades now. So I'm trying to actually figure a few things out with this channel. Before I went into that episode, I was putting out 2 Ram Reacts videos a day, and what I found out was that when I was doing that, I had no time to work on Revved Up. Because when I work on Revved Up, typically what I do is in a course of about 4 days, I'll work about 40 to 50 hours, just 10 to 12 hours a day, putting that episode out. And that doesn't really leave me a whole lot of time for doing the Ram Reacts, of course, because I also have a full-time job. So I'm probably going to be trying a few different things with this channel and figuring out exactly what formula works for me so that I can supplement some content on top of Revved Up, because I do only put out an episode of that once every week and a half or so. And I would like to put out more stuff. So I might try a few different things, whether I do, a couple of these Ram Reacts 3 days a week, or whether I maybe do, a 2-hour show at the end of the night that I live stream. I'm going to try a few different things and figure out what works best for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But again, if you haven't checked out that new Revved Up, I suggest you go and check that out today. What we're going to be talking about excuse me. What we're going to be talking about today is the thing that everybody's talking about, the gunman for the judge in the Epstein case. And we have this article here from the Telegraph. It looks like they actually have found the person that shot that shot her son and her husband. Lot of questions around this. Now, there's not a whole lot of concrete evidence, and so I don't want to speculate too heavily on what might actually be going on with this. Let's go ahead and take a look at this article, and let's see what's going on here. So we have gunman kills U.S. federal judge's son at home. 20-year-old son of a federal judge killed and her husband injured by a shooter posing as delivery driver. A gunman who shot dead a U.S. federal judge's son and wounded her husband in an attack in their New Jersey home has been identified as an anti-feminist lawyer with a grudge. I'm going to say right now, a lot of this is going to seem a little too convenient, especially considering that just a few days prior, she was given the Epstein Deutsche Bank case, the financial case involving Epstein, and I think Epstein's only a part of that case. But you can already see they're saying it's an anti-feminist. You can tell, I think most of you out there who have been following the media can already kind of tell what direction or how they're going to frame this shooting. I think they're going to make it look like a Donald Trump supporter and this and that. It could be the case. Could be. Not buying it. Not buying it, though. Let's go ahead and continue here before I get ahead of myself. So Judge Esther Salas' husband, Mark Anderl, a criminal defense lawyer and former prosecutor, was shot several times by a man posing as a FedEx delivery driver shortly after 5 p.m. on Sunday. Their son, Daniel, 20, was fatally shot in the heart after he came to help his father. Now, I understood that the son actually answered the door and was shot, so either way, I'm not sure that's a critical detail there, so... Mr. Andor remains in critical condition following surgery. I've heard that he's stable now. Miss Salas, 51, the first Hispanic woman, blah, blah, blah. We don't care about all that. Congratulations. The suspect was named by the FBI as New York lawyer Roy Den Hollander, was later found dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound near the Catskills, upstate New York. A FedEx package addressed to Judge Salas was reportedly discovered in his car. Now, this just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't add up. We have Salas just got the Epstein case. We know that people drop like flies around Epstein and, his buddies, the Clintons. And all of a sudden she gets this case and she's found dead. Now, what's interesting is that normally in something like this, she had just gotten the case. You would think that before they would attack her or threaten her, they would try to buy her off. Now, if she had just gotten the case, that does give a few days for something like that to unfold, that somebody would have approached her and said, hey, let this slide. Maybe she said no. This is all speculation, though. Normally, they wouldn't just go and shoot a judge without trying to get her or him on their side. So, it's really, really weird situation, and it seems too convenient for the narrative that they're going to be painting in this article. The fact that, of course, he was found self-inflicted gunshot wound, it does not feel like it was a suicide. That he's going to go through the trouble to dress up as a FedEx delivery driver and what seemed like a planned assassination and then go kill himself. It doesn't make sense. Somebody who is going to go through that trouble and then kill... First of all, if he was really going after the judge for some grievance, he would have gone after the judge, not the family. And if the family got in the way, sure, but he wouldn't have stopped at the family. He would have gone for the judge. And it seems like he just shot the two family members and then left. But all the effort that went into covering up his identity, it doesn't feel like somebody with a grudge. It feels like a hit job. It feels like a warning. Going after the family, you leave the judge alone so that she's too scared then to actually prosecute to the full extent of the law, or maybe she lets things slide. Fill in the blank. I mean, it's all speculation at this point. So let's go ahead and continue here. The FBI has identified Roy Den Hollander as the primary subject in the attack that occurred at the home of Honorable Esther Salas. Den Hollander is now deceased. Convenient. The agency said as it appealed for any information relating to the case. The FBI is investigating, this is from FBI Newark, the FBI is investigating a shooting that occurred at the home of Judge Esther Salas in North Brunswick Township, New Jersey. We know all this stuff. He had a challenger. He had a challenge to the military's male-only draft pending before Miss Salas, according to court documents. This doesn't seem... They're taking this angle of this anti-feminist approach, and sure, he had something in her courts. I mean, yeah, this could go either way. I mean, it doesn't really make sense that he's a lawyer, for one, that is taking his anti-feminist... trying to figure out the right word for it. You know, just zealotry into a murderous rage against a judge who apparently the case hasn't even gone through the court system yet. He had previously filed a lawsuit in Manhattan against Columbia University for offering women's studies courses, which Hollander saw as discrimination towards men. I mean, I don't view that as discrimination towards men. I view that as Marxism being instilled into our culture and as a way for women to then despise men. That's worked so far. Hollander, who has appeared on Fox News, they're trying to tie him to the right, had also mentioned had also filed a number of lawsuits against media organizations to try to win more favorable coverage for Donald Trump. And of course, they're going to bring Donald Trump. This seems too convenient. This doesn't seem like a pro-Trump. It doesn't seem like something that a pro-Trump person would do. Going after a judge, especially when that judge had just been given a case regarding Epstein, which most Trump supporters believe that Epstein would not have even been arrested had Trump not gotten into office. We know that Trump is going after the human traffickers. We know that he's going after the sex cults. He also went after that Nexium cult that was the Keith Raniere and Allison Mack case. And that seemed to be kind of a segue and a build-up to the Epstein case. We've seen the arrests for human trafficking. Most people who follow Trump know and understand what he's doing with this. And so it just doesn't seem like coincidence to me. It doesn't seem like coincidence that this guy has this case with her. She gets the Epstein case. And then a couple days later, with him having no idea what's going on, he's an attorney, by the way. He would probably, I don't know whether he would know her docket or not, but still, it doesn't add up. I mean, it would be the flukiest of flukes if this is the true story behind the shooting. I mean, it could be that they got, the deep state or whoever was worried about this case with Epstein likely put him up to it, if he's even the real person. I don't know. I mean, he could have been framed for this. They don't mention in here what kind of evidence they have. That's what's also kind of interesting, is that they say that he's wanted for this, or that he was wanted for this, he was the suspect. They don't say why he was the suspect. They don't mention not word one about the evidence against this guy, or why they thought he was the shooter. So that there is also suspicious. So let's see. He had wrote of how he had been married to a younger Russian woman who left him when they moved to the U.S. around 2008. Oh, boo-hoo. I mean, they're trying to make this guy sound to be like an incel or something, like a MGTOW incel. But he's an attorney, and he's 72. It's doesn't sync up. Miss Salas, 51, was nominated to her current position by Barack Obama in 2010. Prior to that, she served as a U.S. magistrate judge. All right. We don't need to know all that. She was last week assigned a lawsuit brought by Deutsche Bank investors who claimed the company made false and misleading statements about its money laundering policies and failed to monitor high-risk customers, including convicted sex trafficker or a sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So, it took him several paragraphs to even mention Epstein, which it does seem like that's Occam's razor. I mean, it's the most likely scenario. This whole idea of some MGTOW incel 72-year-old attorney with money who was married to a young Russian, it just doesn't add up. It's just bizarre that he would go and try to murder her or her family, and why he would go and murder the family but then not murder her. It just that's some 2 + 2 = 5 shit right there. It doesn't make sense. Earlier this month, the bank agreed to pay a $150 million fine for continuing to work with Epstein after he was convicted of soliciting underage prostitutes in 2008. Ms. Salas' highest profile case, all right, this is about New Jersey, Real Housewives of New Jersey. We don't need to read all that. Again, not important. The attack came amid a growing number of threats on judges. Now, this is what gets interesting. This is interesting here. In 2015, the U.S. Marshal Service, which protects judges, was called to deal with 926 complaints of threats of inappropriate communications. The figure rose to 4,449 in 2019. That is an increase of over 400%. It's like a 450% increase in threats against judges from 2015 to 2019. That in and of itself is an alarming statistic that really needs to be looked into. And I only have those 2 years to work with, 2015 and 2019. So I don't know, I don't have any graphs or anything how it trends over time. Maybe 2015 was an exceptionally low number. It doesn't feel that way. That is such a vast disparity. So we have to wonder, as Donald, because all that's in the course of Donald Trump coming to office. And since Donald Trump has come to office, we know that his goal has been to take down the deep state. And there's been a lot of arrests and behind the scenes, people that we haven't even heard about. We heard about, even internationally, we heard about that ring in Germany, I think it was. Or was it Holland? In Europe, anyways, where 30,000 convicted pedophiles were taken down. I'm almost convinced that Trump and his efforts had something to do with that happening. And if we have all kinds of additional human trafficking arrests at the border, which we can already see, he had more in 2018 than Obama had in 2010 to 2016 combined. So if he really has been taking down all of these deep state actors, and we're seeing this incredible rise in threats against judges, one has to think that there's some kind of link in there. Sure, there's a little bit of presumption going on in there, but just look at it and decide for yourself. This is something I should actually probably look into a little bit more, is this rise in threats on judges. Because I feel like it's got to have something to do with Donald Trump's war on the deep state. So let's see. Friends often said she made remarks about her job making her a target for attacks, but that recently she was not concerned. As a judge, she had threats from time to time, but everyone was saying that recently there had not been any. Francis Womack, the mayor of North Brunswick, New Jersey, told the Washington Post. Mr. Anderl, that's a hard name to say, Anderl. Mr. Anderl works as a criminal defense lawyer with Anderl and Oakley PC, which specializes in state and federal criminal defense and juvenile and municipal court matters, according to their website. Before he went private, he spent a decade as a prosecutor, hearing some 33 murder trials. I don't think it has anything to do with that. Their only child, Daniel, who celebrated his 20th birthday last week, was a student at the Catholic University in Washington, D.C. And rest in peace to the son. This is really a tragic story. That, you got this innocent kid. His mom is a judge. She's been given this case, and then a few days later, he has to die for it. And, I'm still leaning towards the idea that this what's his name? Whatever this guy's name is. This Roy Den Hollander. This feels like a frame job. It feels like a setup job. And of course he's dead. So he can't defend himself. He can't explain anything. They give us no evidence, again, that it was him. They're just saying, oh, he's the guy and now he's dead. And also, he's a Trump guy. I don't know. It just seems like they're saying, look over here, look over here. What's really going on is over here. Not buying it. Not buying it. I'm gonna have to see a lot more evidence before I believe a word of this story about this Den Hollander guy. So let's see. Bob Menendez. Oh, okay. Bob Menendez. Democratic New Jersey senator who backed Ms. Salas' nomination to the federal bench said in a statement on Sunday night, "My prayers are with Judge Salas and her family, and that those responsible for this horrendous act are swiftly apprehended and brought to justice." Now, Bob Menendez is a creepy guy in and of himself. He had the ethics probe where he had over $100,000 in gifts from a doctor's office or dentist's office. I think it was a doctor. I don't know what kind of doctor, down in Florida. And they just said, oh, he repaid it, so he didn't do anything wrong. No, he still did something wrong. He only repaid it because he got caught. And one of the gifts that he received was a trip to the Dominican Republic where it was alleged that he had slept with multiple underage prostitutes. Again, underage prostitutes in the Caribbean. Does that remind us of anybody else? Now, I'm not saying that he had anything to do with this, but I'm not ready to say he didn't either. Now, of course, those girls came out and recanted, and the whole thing said, oh, no, this didn't happen, and it got swept under the rug, and whatever it is, he got away with it. Again, don't buy it. There's too much of this politicians and underage girls in the Caribbean shit going on that I'm not giving benefit of the doubt anymore. And so I think Bob Menendez, I mean, between having the corruption and the underage prostitutes thing, he is dirty, greasy motherfucking slimeball. That's what he is. So even if he's gotten officially cleared on all of his scandals, he's a greaseball. He's an utter greaseball, and I'm not going to make any accusations. I'm not going to make any insinuations that he had any involvement in this, but just look at the information, look at who these people are, and I just think we need to get rid of all these people. So Trump, please continue draining the swamp. We need to get all of these scumbags out of there, and it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough because there's going to be all kinds of stuff like this where judges and people that try to stand in the way of these deep staters are going to get murdered. And so it really is. It's going to take brave people to stand up and actually put their life on the line. And it looks like now even their families' lives on the line in order to do this. But I guess we all need to remember that the maintenance of this nation, the protection of this nation, it's bigger than all of us. It's bigger than any of our own lives. So let's see. To end this, in an emailed statement, Phil Murphy, who we're going to find out, let's see him indicted for killing all the old people, letting them back in with COVID into the nursing homes. In an emailed statement, Phil Murphy, this is just dirty, corrupt politicians all over. Jersey is a hell of a state. I don't mean that in a good way. Governor of New Jersey called the shooting a senseless act and said that this tragedy is our latest reminder that gun violence remains a crisis in our country. He had to turn around and make this about gun violence. This is not a story about gun violence. This was a specifically planned assassination. And Murphy is going to make this about just the broad topic of gun violence? Like this was some random shooting? This was a hit. This was an assassination. This has nothing to do with gun violence. Pathetic. Pathetic. I hope Phil Murphy gets voted out so quickly and gets just excommunicated from the entire state of New Jersey. Guy is a fucking piece of work. All right. Yeah, so these guys are just all nonsense. This whole story reeks. The whole setup here, potential setup. I don't want to say definitively that this Roy Den Hollander was a setup, but it certainly feels that way. And the fact that, he carries out this assassination, he's able to shoot directly through the heart, so we know he's a good shot. It feels like a hit job, and then assassins don't just go and kill themselves. I'm going to say it right now, this guy's been framed. This guy's been set up, framed, murdered, and it was convenient because he's a pro-Trump guy. And that's going to undercut every narrative. It undercuts the narratives about Trump being the one trying to take out the people that are related to Epstein and all the dirty politicians. It's going to undercut everything that we know Trump is doing. So I'm not buying this story for a second, and I want to see this thoroughly investigated. That's my response for this piece of news right here, and it really needs to. They need to work this shit out. They need to sort this out, and they need to get the truth of it, because I'm not buying this Roy Den Hollander story one bit. So stick around, guys. Again, I'm not sure what frequency I'm going to be doing these Ram Reacts videos. I'm going to be trying different things. I might just do one video. I don't know yet. I don't know yet because I do have another episode of Revved Up on the way. I'm working on it right now. It is going to be about mass media malfeasance and all of the lies that our media tells us, how they misframe everything, how they misconstrue everything, and how they just outright look us in the eyes through our TVs and lie to us. And so I'm going to be working on that through the week, which means I will have a limited amount of time to actually put together these Ram Reacts videos. So I hate to say this, but you might just have to get them when you get them. I'm working on putting content out for you guys, but Revved Up is my flagship show. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Parler at Ram Thorburn. And if you would like to contribute to this channel, there are links down in the description below. Thank you very much, guys, and I hope you all have a very good day.